Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Cinderella Phenomenon, and we are starting our new route today, and Rod was the Little Mermaid. Okay, somebody probably said that in his route, but you haven't seen any of Rod's route yet before I'm getting to this part. No, actually, well, one part's posted, but it hasn't, well, I've put it up, but it hasn't gone public yet. But yeah, so no, none of Rod's route has actually gone public yet. Sometimes I load things in advance every week, but yeah, so you haven't seen any of Rod's route when I'm starting this. So yeah, okay. Because I sat there the whole time, I'm like, what was his curse? I don't even remember. It's because after you finish a route at the very beginning screen, there's like a little card that she is sitting on her desk, and like Rod's was sitting there with a seashell on it, and I was like, wait, because Karma's is a rose for Beauty and the Beast. And then I was like, oh, Little Mermaid, because he lost his voice. Right? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. You know what? Just whatever. I'm sure someone said it, but you're late to the party because I figured it out before. You know, whatever. Weird timing issues. Anyway, so there you go. There's that. So let's see. That was Rod. This is Claw. This is Chevalier. Okay, this is where we're going. The Lucybearer Chapter 1. Okay, so it's just voice. I don't know if this is supposed to be him or not, but anyway. Spacey. A voice reaches out to me from the depths of my mind, soft and gentle. Though I've not heard it in years, I recognize it immediately. Mother? Ah, my dearest heart. Mother. I rush toward her, but Mother steps away from me before I can touch her. I came to see how the traitor was doing, but it seems you're still just as incompetent as when I left you. Mother, A strand of electricity snakes up my arm, breaking apart the rest of my words. I collapse to my knees with a cry of pain. What a disappointment you are, Spacey. Had you revived me, you wouldn't be so weak, and Jill would not be so weak. You're a pathetic ruler, daughter. Mother. And you're a failure as a witch. The sparks return the moment the words leave her mouth. This time, the electricity envelops my whole body, making the world shimmer dangerously. Tears gather in my eyes. This is a shitty dream to have. Mother, please, I'm trying my best. You will fail, dearest heart, because you don't know what it means to be a witch. We feed off negativity and chaos. Love serves us no purpose. You'll see that in time. And when that happens, my love... Love serves no purpose, my love. I just really feel like you shouldn't call me your love if love serves no purpose. Maybe you should fix that. A sardonic smile touches her lips as she fades away. Remember that I will not be there for you. I awake with my heart pounding erratically in my ears. Mother... I press a hand to my forehead and squeeze my eyes shut. A tendril of electricity snaps across my fingers, and I'm only able to will it away after calming my heart. When I open my eyes, it's not darkness I see, but my own room. It was just a dream. I quiet my breathing as I glance around. Everything is exactly as it always is, except one thing. My gaze snags on a figure silhouetted in moonlight. He's hunched over a table, papers scattered around him. Aw. Chev? I stand and make my way over to him. Oh, precious. Oh, I love it. I like how our first CG always just like pops up like instantaneous. Like, I don't remember where Rod's came in, but like Karma's was like fucking in the beginning. But I love this. He's so sweet sleeping. Chevalier has fallen asleep on my table with an arm folded beneath his head. At least this time he remembered to take off his glasses. The last time Chevalier fell asleep writing letters, he crushed his glasses. I notice he's been drifting off more frequently at this desk ever since he moved into the palace. It's only been a few weeks since he accepted my father's invitation to become the palace's official physician, but he's already so stressed. I reach out to touch his shoulder, but then pause. So, okay, in all the other ones he's got his own practice, and in this one he's like our personal doctor. It's a little weird. As much as I'd like to have him come to bed, he might not be able to fall back asleep once I wake him. I suppress a laugh. Chevalier is not even supposed to be in my room this late. But he really does accidentally drift off here. He's not supposed to be in my room this late. Listen. Claude was like, I'm moving into your room. The king will fucking deal with it. But we were also engaged, so that's probably the difference. We let him sleep. I know, Chevalier. He has a tendency to worry. If I wake him, he'll be unable to fall asleep again. I'd rather he rest. He needs it. I pull my hand away and make my way back to my bed. I pause briefly to glance at the gardens and the city beyond them. The moonlight settles on Angia like a blanket, making all of the buildings glimmer faintly like stars. Somewhere in the sprawling town is the Martian, where Delora and Cinna sleep under one roof. Cinna is Parfait's only cousin and the only possible heir to the Lucius. Apparently, Parfait was keeping his identity secret because she didn't want to place the burden of bearer on him at so young an age. Okay, that explains why he was not in the first one. Like, I don't remember him. I don't think he was in the first one. Okay. None of us knew of his existence until he showed up at the Martian's doorstep one day, insisted that he be allowed to stay so he could take over Parfait's duties. Is she dead in this path? Like, I don't remember. Ever since Cinna moved to Angeal, I've been having more nightmares of Mother. I wonder if this has anything to do with the imbalance between the Tenebrarum and Lucius. My closeness with the Tenebrarum, which is the crystallum that balances... So the Tenebrarum, and I have to be very careful, and then it goes crystallum, like... And then I can't pronounce actual fucking normal words. I don't know. Crystallum's not a normal word, but crystallum or crystallum, like... I don't know. Anyway. The balance is the darkness of this kingdom makes me more prone to nightmares. They've decreased over the years, thankfully, but for some reason, this week has been difficult. I sigh as I fall back on my bed, my fingers moving to the bridge of my nose as I try to brush aside the nightmare. Maybe I should go for a walk. I leave the room quietly so as not to disturb Chevalier. I'm only out long enough to clear my mind. When I return, I'm finally able to fall asleep. The first thing I notice when I wake in the morning is Chevalier, who's seated at my desk, sealing envelopes. I rub my bleary eyes as I sit up in bed and yawn. Chevalier turns with a smile, and now he's basically in the same voice as Claude, okay? I can't help it. They just do. Like... But he was far more dramatic than Claude, but I don't feel like I could do that with him. Ugh, man, it's just... I can't help it. Some of the characters just look like they have the same voice in this. Like, it is what it is, so anyway. Good morning, my sweet princess. I notice that his eyes are glimmering. He looks more lively than I've seen him in many, many days, so he's got to be a little more dramatic. And Claude was a little less dramatic. It sounds exactly the same, I'm sure. In my mind, it doesn't. In my head, it doesn't sound... It's like, there's a slight difference, but it probably comes out sounding the same. Whatever. You know what? Suck it up and deal, okay? Good morning. You look well rested. I could also just... Good morning. You look well rested. I could also just not do voices. I don't have enough fucking voices, man. I need to do better. Okay, we're gonna always have to default somebody to having a bad Irish accent. I don't know. Oh, but I am. Your table's very comfy, Spacey. The bed's a lot more comfortable, you know. A valid point. I certainly prefer waking to the sight of your beautiful eyes, bright as the most precious gold. If that's the case, you should make a greater effort to pass out on the bed. And we're blushing. But, I'm not even supposed to fall asleep in your room, am I? And yet you do so anyway. If you insist on staying, you ought to at least sleep on the bed. Father ought to have reprimanded me by now. The fact that he's not means he obviously doesn't care that much about Chevalier being in here. He's like, I know what you kids are doing. Shadow puppets, right? The Rod would leave room for Gennaro, squeezing on in here, like... And then, I'll try my best for you, sweet princess. He leans back in his chair, arms crossed. I hope you don't mind my saying, but you seem a little... groggy this morning. As always, he's able to read me so easily. A nightmare kept me up last night. A nightmare? Spacey, you should have woken me. It was just a nightmare, Chev. I didn't want to disturb you for such a small thing. Your consideration warms my heart. But still, is this another Tenebrarum nightmare? I don't think so. It's hard to say. It seemed more vivid than the usual nightmares. I spend the next minutes detailing the nightmare to Chevalier. Even now, Mother's words are clear in my mind. I couldn't forget them, even if I wanted to. Chevalier looks thoughtful.
The dreams you remember are usually the ones fueled by the Tenebrarum. Perhaps this is somehow related to Cinna, and the dreams have been worse since he came to Angel, yes?
It's probably Angio? I always say that wrong. I know I'm saying it wrong, but like, I just don't even sometimes with some of the names in here. Like, I nod. I do know how... Oh, I don't know how he would be related to the Tenebrarum, but...
Well, we can ask him today when we see him at the Martian.
Oh, and Spacey. He plops himself down on the bed, wraps an arm around my waist, and presses a kiss to my forehead.
I hope you didn't take your mother's words to heart. From what you tell me, the mother you knew loved you in her own way. I don't think she'd have ever wanted to see you suffer.
I know.
Are you sure you're okay?
Spacey, you... Before he can say anything else, I press my lips to his mouth. The kiss is my only answer. When I pull away, Chevalier is grinning at me.
I'll take that as a yes.
He wiggles his eyebrows at me, and I respond by jabbing him in the shoulder. Shall we get breakfast? When Chevalier first came to the palace and I invited him to breakfast, he was extremely nervous about sharing a meal with my family. You're going to have to get used to it, future husband. We getting married. Look, we may not be getting married in all the routes, but we were definitely getting engaged in all these fucking routes, okay? I'm not having any of that non-bullshit, so... I had to tell him multiple times that the king insisted he join us, not because he was to become the royal physician, but because he was becoming part of the family. Now the question always brings a smile to Chevalier's face. He flashes that broad smile at me now as he offers me his arm. Although, okay, so when Claude glitters, it's magnificent. When Chevalier does this with, like, the glasses and the glittering, it's almost slightly, like, borderline creep. It's like, yes! Like, I just feel like he's gonna do, like, fucking experiments on us or some shit. I love him to death, but it's slightly awkward.
Breakfast would be nice, yes.
We head for the dining hall. The hall is lively as always this morning, though for an entirely different reason than usual. And you're telling me you ran after the messenger because you had an important letter to send Viorica? It was very important. It was a very important invite for a luncheon. Normally, it's Chevalier who sparks conversation on mornings like these. He and Father get along very well and usually discuss recent affairs and politics. This morning, however, Father and Ophelia are at a meeting, and it's just Rod, Emmeline, Chevalier, and I here. Chevalier has been quietly listening to the conversation this whole time. He flips between being loquacious and quiet at the drop of a coin. Sometimes it feels as if he has two personalities, but I know the truth. He just likes to eavesdrop. I turn my attention away from my finished plate to look at Emmeline and Rod. They've been discussing letters the whole morning. Emmeline usually sends letters to Viorica and Anise. Chevalier, unsurprisingly, is the one that brought Emmeline and Anise together. Rod sends the majority of his letters to Brigantia. He's been considering going there to study foreign dance as a part of some exchange program. Claude and his younger brother Lance were the ones to suggest the idea when they last visited Angel. Claude was particularly interested, saying that because Angel hosted Brigantian royalty so often, they'd be honored to host us as well. Claude proposed a trade-off. He insisted that if the Brigantian royal family took Rod in, he would force us to take his brother Lance off his hands. Emmeline would love that. Sometimes I wonder about the relationship they have. I don't, because we played that route. So we know. The messenger from this morning's delivering letters all over the border. Those letters were for Brigantia. Emmeline looks at him, startled. When he raises an eyebrow, she smiles sheepishly. Really? I had no idea. If she was sending anyone in Brigantia a letter, it's probably Lance. The two of them get along very well. I get it. He's like, they're going, oh, I didn't know that. She totally knew it, sending secret love letters to Lance. That's fucking adorable. I was wondering, I'm like, oh, so if we get Lance, because that's how they're going to fall in love. Because, hi, I'm really invested in the Jury and Garland romance. I need to make sure it's good in every route. And also, now, Emmeline Lance. That's in every route, too. That's going to somehow, even if it's budding and just starting, we know it's going to, okay. I just need that, okay?
I'm certain the messenger would deliver messages to the post office before making the trip over the border. He smiles at Emmeline. Your letters are in good hands, Princess Emmeline. Emmeline turns a grateful smile on Chevalier before pausing, curiosity lighting her eyes. What about your letters, Chevalier? He was up so late writing them that he fell asleep with a pen in his hand. I gave him a pointed look. As usual. Chevalier smiles weakly. And those ones were important, I swear. He clears his throat, his expression melting into something more somber. I've been writing letters to the housing official to finalize a contract. Right, his deal with Anise. He's in the process of giving her the deed to his old clinic. I hope it's not too complicated. It's not, just time-consuming. Just make sure it doesn't stop you from sleeping. Chevalier laughs, eyes glittering with mirth. As you command, my sweet princess. After breakfast, Chevalier and I head to the Martian, where we're to meet with Anise and Cinna, respectively. What a brilliant day! The sun is shining, the town is full of laughter, and I have my sweet Spacey here to accompany me. Wrong! I was going to say I have my lovely queen here to accompany me. That's the same thing. Chevalier laughs. I beg to differ. Queen is a far more regal title. But I'm not even queen yet. You're already one in spirit. I can't help my smile as I turn my attention to the scenery. The town square is bustling with activity when we arrive, despite the cold weather. Though it is sunny, a chill wind brushes my skin and rumples my dress. It's so cold. I don't realize I'm huddled close to Chevalier until he loops an arm around my waist and pulls me to his side. As always, I'm amazed at how comfortably I fit. It's at times like these that I feel I should buy a new scarf. He grins. I could get you one too. Better yet, we could buy matching scarves. I would wear a paper bag over my head before matching with you. I'm sorry, what is wrong with us? That's fucking adorable and I want matching scarves. You're so radiant you could make anything a fashion statement, princess. Even a paper bag. It would be a shame not to gaze upon your beautiful features, though. His voice fades as he spots a nearby stall. Fabrics are draped across the makeshift shelves and tacked onto boards. Scarves are included in the assortment. Ah, look there. How convenient. The last time I arrived early at the Martian for a meeting with Cinna, he wasn't there. He was partaking in one of his silly hobbies. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to keep him waiting. We can spare a few minutes. Onwards, then. We've just arrived at the stall when I pause, noticing two ladies standing not too far away. I can tell by the looks they throw in our direction that they're speaking about us. I move closer to the edge of the stall while Chevalier holds up a few scarves. He and the stall owner don't even notice me. I don't understand what she could have seen in him. Unless she took pity on him. Oh my god, you're not making fun of Chevalier, are you? Because he's gorgeous. He's not as gorgeous as Claude. Like, Claude is like queen of gorgeous. But Chevalier is still beautiful, okay? Just leave him alone. He's my adorable nerd. The ice princess taking pity on some poor doctor? The two women giggle, rude. Not only is he much older than her, but he's not even handsome, is he? How could you say that? I'm not very competent, last I heard. If I were him, I'd be ashamed to be seen as the princess's consort. Spacey, how could they say he's not very handsome? He's precious. Are they crazy? These blind-ass bitches. I startle when Chevalier puts a hand on my shoulder. Is something wrong? His eyes flicker briefly to the women. He's smiling, but it's a half-hearted smile. Look, I made him sad. He told him, it's okay, baby, I'm gonna beat him down. He squeezes my shoulder. Look, no one can be as beautiful as Claude, okay? Because the man looks good as a man, and he looks good as a woman, and he's beautiful as both, and better looking than anybody should have a right to be, okay? But, like, this precious thing, I fucking love him. Like, he's still adorable. Why would you... He's not even what? First of all, everybody almost has... They're very drawn similar, so they're all pretty. in their own way, okay? And I get it if you're like, he's not your character. First of all, you put glasses on them and they mind. I don't give a shit. It's really rare when I'm like not interested in the glasses character. Claude is my favorite, okay? But there is nothing wrong with our poor Rumple. He was an absolute flirt. And a bit of a pain in the ass. But I love him, okay? Be mean to him. I'll beat those bitches down. And don't worry about them, Spacey. But you are worried because they're being mean to you. I can still hear the ladies tittering behind me. They're being extraordinarily rude. I really want to confront them. I wish it was not leave them be. Beat them down! But we're supposed to leave them be. Probably because he's like, don't worry about them. And that's more like, okay, I'm not going to draw attention to them being rude to you. Because that would just be drawing attention to the horrible shit they're saying. It might make you feel bad. So whatever you say, baby. If you don't want me to beat those bitches down, I won't beat the bitches down. But Chev is right. They are a waste of my time. I turn toward Chevalier, who looks relieved. He immediately changes the subject, picking up a fuchsia pink scarf and holding it up for me to see. It's kind of like if they were dudes, you'd be like, whatever, they're just jealous of you. But like, what the fuck? These bitches, what are they jealous? Because they want me instead?
Oh my god, she could have had one of us. I know, right?
Aw, it's pretty.
What do you think of this one?
For you? It looks like something Claude would wear.
No, for you, my lovely princess.
He raises the scarf higher, glasses glinting.
You're always in blue, but I think pink would really bring out the color of your eyes.
Pink is more Emmeline's color.
Oh, I think it would look nice on you.
It's ugly. Rude! Rude! I liked it! Man, we are a bitch. Chevalier laughs.
As always, your honesty is a treasure.
You show me things like that just because you enjoy it when I insult them, don't you?
Of course. Your scowl is radiant.
Yeah, he's such a little flirt. He's more of a flirt than Karma. I roll my eyes as Chevalier turns back to the stall. I feel like, for me, they're very similar characters. You know what I mean? Claude might have the, I'm dressed like a beautiful woman, but he is very much, like, in love with himself. He's got that, like, I love myself, I'm gorgeous, look at me. And he's not wrong. And then Chevalier is, like, the, like, flirty flirt. But they're both, like, the flirty characters. They have that sameness about them. It's probably why I like them both. Eh. I'm not normally, like, I love the flirty character, but, like, I love these little whores. I don't know. Anyway, we ought to head to the Martian now. We can always return later. Chevalier nods his assent before following after me.
We have arrived!
Chevalier strolls into the Martian with his usual enthusiasm.
Good morning, Lady Delora. Waltz the Big.
Delora and Waltz, who were in the middle of a conversation, turned to face us.
Well, well, look what the cat dragged in.
Waltz sighs.
Good morning, you two.
Chevalier's called him Waltz the Big so many times he no longer bothers reacting to it.
Let me guess, Spacey. You're here to speak with Cinna, and Chevalier, you're here for Anise?
On point as always.
Do you know where I might find her?
Waltz gestures with a thumb at the reception room. Apparently, Anise has been in there for the last few hours sorting through papers.
You sure stuck her with a lot of work, Chevalier.
Have I? I've been trying to alleviate some of the stress by doing most of the paperwork myself, but...
I just...
Lady Delora...
You... A voice comes from the reception room doorway. It's either... I'm assuming it's Anise, but... Oh, no, it's Cinna. I wasn't sure. Well, it said reception room doorway. At first I was like, it's probably Cinna, and then I was like, that threw me off, but anyway. The voice belongs to an irritated boy that I've only met a handful of times since he arrived in Angeal. Cinna, Parfait's cousin, the newly dubbed Lucybearer, is fucking Parfait dead in this one? Like, I don't remember.
And so it starts.
Could you be any louder, old man?
Chevalier is completely unfazed. He grins brightly as Cinna enters the room.
What an honor it is to see you again, tiny lord. No rebuttals today, Cinnamon.
You're unbearable.
Ah, so you are in the mood for banter.
I'm in the mood to smash a plate over your head. Such violence! Chevalier turns to look at me with a glimmering smile. What say you, Spacey? What? Don't you have anything to contribute to the conversation? Break up the conversation. Chevalier, do not patronize him. And Cinna, you know Chevalier's heart's made of glass. You'll break it if you insult him too much. Chevalier releases a dramatic sigh. I am afraid my princess speaks the truth. Dolores snorts and quirks an eyebrow. Does she now? You two really do have a strange relationship, don't you? Strange? I think the word you're searching for is honest. No, it's a little strange, but it's okay. As always, these comments don't faze Chevalier, but... My eyes fall on Cinna, who's smirking. I can tell from the look on Chevalier's face that he meant for this to happen. You're a soft heart for sure. I'll take that as a compliment. Think of it what you will, old man. Manners, Cinnamon. Cinna cocks an eyebrow at Delora. As always, he looks unimpressed. He turns to face me. I'm assuming you came to see me. That is correct. And the old man? I'm here to see Anise. Since the two of you have a meeting, I'll go ahead and excuse myself. He leans forward to plant a kiss on my forehead. I'll be in the other room if you need me, my sweet Spacey. He shows himself out of the room with a genteel bow. So, what do you need from me, Princess Spacey? I get straight to the point, describing my nightmares and my hypothesis that the crystallum are unbalanced. Cinna scoffs and crosses his arms. They're unbalanced because he's a little bastard! With all due respect, Your Highness, your nightmares don't prove anything. What evidence is there that your nightmares are being caused by an imbalance in the crystallum? Your fucking attitude. I'm gonna smack this kid. No, but I love him. I love that he's a bitchy kid. If anything, shouldn't you be more critical of yourself? Excuse me? Cinnamon! It could be that the weight of the crystallum is overwhelming you, perhaps. Or maybe... You're a failure as a witch. I don't remember the voice we gave her mom earlier, but it doesn't matter. I'm so wrapped up in my thoughts, I miss the rest of Cinna's words. Dolores sighs. What Spacey said might be valid, actually. You've just started taking over Parfait's responsibilities, Cinna. The balance was already skewed before you arrived. It'll take a while to restore it to the way it was before the war. I'm doing my job just fine, thanks. Waltz looks between Cinna and Delora, eyebrows scrunched. Is there any way to measure the balance? Usually the imbalance reveals itself physically, but... So far as I can see, there are no disturbances in Angeal. What would those disturbances even look like on Cinna's side? I'll keep my eyes open for anything that feels off. Likewise, let's hold off on forming any conclusions until we know more about the situation. Let us know if the problem persists, Princess. The problem persists, Princess. Sometimes alliteration is not fun. Fine. It feels as if everyone lets out a collective sigh of relief when I let this subject drop. But I can't just be imagining all of this, right? I mean, it's important that you bring it up. If you just ignored it, they'd be like, my god, girl. Ugh, trust people. When we come and we're like, we think there's a problem. Oh my god, just drop it, girl. God. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, I know that's not exactly what it is, but it is slightly like that. Like, whew, she's just gonna let it go. But if I just let it go until it became a problem, they'd be bitching at me. So, like, it's like I can't win, really. Our conversation turns to more practical things after that. Waltz and Delora bring me up to speed with recent events. 2 years ago, the tavern was open to the public. As far as I'm aware, Waltz uses the space to teach young witches magic. Delora also uses the tavern as a base of operations for the Angeal witches. Anise, who was working here until recently, is soon to be leaving. Waltz is just telling me about her plans for the future when the reception door opens and Chevalier enters with Anise in tow. Waltz is telling me her plans. She's gonna go run Chevalier's clinic. I mean, that's... kind of figured that one. Just saying. I heard you talking about Anise and brought her immediately. Anise looks particularly small, standing in Chevalier's shadow. Her smile is soft, shy. Though the passing years have given her greater confidence, she's still remarkably unchanged from the Anise I met years ago. She's still kind-hearted and a good listener, and still very good with herbs and food. Hello, Anise. Good afternoon, Your Highness. Well, here's the thing. She's, like, really good at cooking, and she's going to go leave and run the clinic, but who's going to cook? Oh my god, we're going to starve to death. Oh, we were just talking about you, Anise. As Chevalier seemed to hear. Are you sure you weren't eavesdropping? Of course not. I just have very good ears. I waste no time in asking Anise about the details of the move. He was like, shh, no, Anise. Let's wait for them to mention your name, and then we'll pop in as if we just heard them. Like, he's just standing in the hallway like, oh my god, we've been here for an hour. It was Chevalier who proposed the idea. He insisted that Anise, who had always dreamed of working full-time as an herbalist, could make her dream come true if she had the space to sell her herbs and ointments. Chevalier offered her his old clinic space last month. They've been working on the documentation this month. And as it turns out, we've just finished the last of the paperwork. And there you have it. Soon Lady Anise will be the wonderful new owner of the clinic down the street. She'll become a renowned herbalist and transform the place into a miraculous and humble sanctuary for all those in need. I have no doubt she'll be loved by all of her patients. I don't think I'll be anywhere near as renowned as you are, Chevalier. The two laugh and smile, but I note the way Chevalier's smile slips as he looks at Anise. It's only for a few minutes, but he looks sad. There have been so many changes this last month. Cinna moving into the tavern, my recent nightmares, an increase in my palace duties, Chevalier giving up the clinic to Anise. Chevalier has only recently taken up my father's offer to become the palace's official physician, and yet it seems wrong somehow. Spacey. Chevalier takes my hand and rubs a thumb across my palm. My heart eases when he flashes me a bright smile. I push away my anxiety and turn back to the conversation. No, I must be imagining things. Everything is fine. Right? Ah, that's going to be the point of contention. You don't want to be here! Yes, I do. It's just difficult. Chapter 2. The Middleman. You will fail, dearest heart, because you do not know what it means to be a witch. I feel like every single time I do her voice, it's different. I don't even know. We feed off negativity and chaos. Love serves us no power. You'll see that in time. Must you haunt me even in the day, Mother? I stifle a groan. Every time I close my eyes, I see Mother smirking at me. I pull my hand away from my face and survey the councilmen gathered around the table. All of them are focused on Father. Except for Jurian and Garland, who are looking at me worriedly. I turn away with a grimace. I can't let on that I'm barely able to keep my eyes open. I hardly slept last night. If Chevalier hadn't left for the Martian before I woke up, he would have noticed something was amiss. I turn to my father, who's been discussing the possibilities of increased taxes for over an hour. Tax yourself, God! While I'm aware that the increase could benefit palace personnel, I'll not raise them unless absolutely necessary. Okay, thank you. Like, look, if somebody working my ass off, more taxes is just painful. One councilman raises his hand to voice his discontent. He insists that the increase in taxes would help the knights. Jurian scowls. Rest assured, His Majesty aptly compensates us for our duty. The councilman looks disgruntled by Jurian's rebuttal. Clearly he was not expecting the commander of the Order of Caldera to argue against increased funding. The conversation makes its way around the table until it's my turn to speak. I'm not afraid to voice my agreement with my father. Before, I wouldn't have cared about the consequences of raising taxes, but now, after getting to know Angel's citizens, I understand the ramifications of our actions. Oh my god, most politicians don't, so I appreciate that. What? It's fine! You can tax them $700,000 a year, it's okay, right? Do you realize that's more than I'll make in my life? Probably. No, not really, but... Like, hi, what the fuck? You're gonna take, like, 50% of my money? That's fucking absurd. Fuck off. But you can't raise taxes on me. I only make, like, millions of dollars a year. I'll starve. Boo fucking who? Anyway. Especially when it's like your cost of living like goes through the fucking roof. Like now my rent's going to be like over $100 more a month. I'm going to guarantee you when like pay raises, bonuses, all that, I'm not going to be making $100 more a month. So like now all the money that I'm spending and putting out for bills is way more than, and you're like, well, there goes every little okay, well. Thank God I don't have to pay my student loans back yet. Thank God that's been pushed off till September. Oh, thank God, because I don't know what I'm going to do when I have to pay those again. And I'm just crossing my fingers that they'll be like, never mind. Okay, can we just keep pushing them off? Only benefit. Otherwise, I'd be like, well, I'm fucked now. Considering the fact that I'm paying half of what they think I should be able to afford to pay. Who the fuck has $800 a month to pay for student loans? Bitch, people fucking rent apartments that cost that. That's like rent. It's like, well, you make a lot of money. But you really fucking think that I have no other bills? I obviously clearly don't have to pay for rent or food or gas or anything. And I just, you know what though? But after all of that, all of the necessities of life, well, I guess I just don't need to eat, never enjoy my life because I have to now pay. Holy fucking shit, what? It's fucking insanity. Anyway, $400 is fucking ridiculous a month. Like, holy fucking shit. Ugh, anyway. I really just think that people, like, money falls out my ass. Like, I wish money fell out my ass, but it's not the way it works, so. But it's as if no one hears my opinion. The counselors don't respond to me at all, instead continuing the conversation as if they've not heard me. It's not unsimilar to a group of adults ignoring a child's commentary, or a group of men ignoring a woman. Just saying. My irritation builds as the counselors continue speaking of their so-called benefits, until I pound a fist under the table. Are you done? Because while you all clearly have your wallets in mind, I'm thinking of the kingdom. A tense silence fills the throne room. My father's surprise is fleeting. He quickly takes charge of the conversation again. I clasp my hands in my lap and flinch when electricity sneaks through my fingers. I clench down on the magic, trying to quell my panic. Good for her. I am in control. Luckily, the electricity fades as the meeting comes to a close. Still, I don't miss the nervous looks the councilmen throw over their shoulders as they exit the room. They're like, she's gonna fry us. Witch! I mean, yeah, but after they leave, only my father and the two knights remain. Your Highness, are you okay? I'm fine. The words come out sharper than I intended. Why am I so bad? I ball my hands into fists and try again. I'm fine. Your eyes are glassy. They are not. This is how I felt when I was first learning to control the Tenebrarum. If I don't manage it properly, the negative emotions stored in it can influence my mood. I eye the electricity sparking on my fingertips and sigh. I apologize. I didn't intend for that outburst to happen. I promise, I am fine. Garland offers a hesitant smile. If there's ever anything we can do to help, please don't hesitate to call on us, Princess. We may not be advisors, but we'll serve however we can. Jurian nods. I personally think you've been overworking yourself. No, I just haven't been able to sleep. There have been certain extenuating circumstances involving the Tenebrarum. My eyes flit to my father. I wonder vaguely if he's thinking about my mother's loss of control when he looks at me. I've been working with the witches to resolve the problem, so there's no need for concern. I have faith in you, Spacey. I always will. But nonetheless, I echo Jurian and Garland's offer. I hope you'll not hesitate to speak with me if you need the help. I offer a tired, grateful smile. Thank you, Father. Though we're still in the process of mending our relationship after years of silence, I appreciate that he's actively taking steps to make things right between us. I rise from my seat. If I may be excused, I have an errand to run. After leaving the throne room, I steer myself in the direction of the Martian. My tiredness doesn't excuse me from my obligations. Right now, I have a responsibility to check in with Delora. Hello? The tavern is eerily silent when I enter. Typically, it's packed with customers at this hour, with a niece calling orders behind the bar. Today, however, the close sign is displayed outside the Martian Tavern's door. They must all be busy. Hello? No one responds to my call, at least not at first. Then I hear the unmistakable sound of sweeping coming from the corridor. Oh no. The broom got mentioned in fucking Claude's route, and I forgot about the fucking broom. But I also forgot that the broom liked to peek in, and I was like, wait, do we actually see the broom now? Oh, whoops, I missed that. I back away at the broom's sudden appearance. Mr. Broom is unfazed and hops out to greet me with an enviable energy. I hope you don't plan on trying to make me sweep today. Look at space. You know you do not need my... you don't need my assistance anymore. The broom's only response is to hop toward me again. I groan at its exuberance. God, I can't talk. Is anyone else here? I know that the broom can understand me, and yet it doesn't give any sign of having heard me. It continues to hop toward me. No, I am not sweeping the floors! I purposely altered Dolores' charm so that the broom could sweep on its own, and yet it still harasses me. I'm just so excited to see it like this. Oh, there's hardly a speck of dust in here. I falter when I notice the dusty footprints by the doorway. Were my shoes really that dirty? The broom is restless. It seems to quiver with anticipation. We sweep. I hold up my hands defeated. It's an obstinate thing, and it won't desist until I sweep away the dirt I tracked inside. Fine, but once I sweep out my tracks, you'll leave me alone. The broom throws itself into my hands, then it rushes forward, pulling me with it. Whoa, not so fast! The broom, of course, does not heed my words. My anger soon fades. I blame the nostalgia. It makes my mind stray. Before I know it, I'm remembering the first time I came to the Martian. Back then, I remember thinking that being forced to work here was the hardest thing I'd ever done. Even small chores like sweeping seemed a terrible punishment. I was irritated that Parfait and Delora forced me to work when, in actuality, they were only teaching me how the world worked. And Parfait... I always took her company for granted. Yeah, she's totally dead. But now she's gone and she's never coming back. I don't remember that. I don't remember Fritz dying in, like, fucking every route, basically. I don't remember Parfait dying in this one. Like, I do not remember the other game. Like...
What you doing? You being nice, birdies? Go birdies.
Oh! What is this? I swivel in place. Chevalier is standing in the doorway, surprised, etched onto his face. And I didn't have time to, like, let me go back through and replay it on my own before recording. Like, that's unfortunate. I do not have time. Like, we recording? I barely have time to play games on my own, you know? So, I realize that though the dust has been cleared away, I'm still clutching the broom. It looks like you two are getting along. I peel my hands off the broom with a sigh. The broom attacked me. Ah, and here I thought you looked like you were having fun. He steps forward and the smile fades. You look lost in thought. Is there something on your mind? I was just remembering the first time I had to sweep with Mr. Broom. Parfait put a ribbon on him because she thought it would somehow make the situation better. I note the melancholy in Chevalier's eyes and mentally chastise myself. Why did I have to bring up Parfait in front of him? I'm sorry. Don't apologize, Spacey. I think Lady Parfait would be happy that we think about her every now and then. I also think she'd be happy to know that Mr. Broom can evoke such a meaningful memory. What's meaningful? Anise is suddenly standing behind us, a quizzical smile on her face. Oh, Lady Anise. I checked the sound we'd heard outside and discovered the princess and Mr. Broom. As always, and they make the second most perfect duo. Second? You and I are the first. Anise beams at me. I'm going to assume you weren't here to sweep, but then, why are you here, princess? I came to speak with Delora and Cinna. Ah, Cinnamon and Lady Delora are in a meeting with the fairies. They should be back soon, though. If you'd like, I can make you a cup of tea while you wait. I was just going to make some for Chevalier and me. Or perhaps you'd like some hot chocolate, Spacey, with just a pinch of cinnamon. He sets a hand on my shoulder and smiles at me softly. You look like you could use it. My shoulders sag beneath his hand. As always, Chevalier can see right through me. Some hot chocolate would be nice, thank you. I follow them into the reception room. I spend the next few hours discussing the day's events. As always, I let my guard down in front of the two of them. They're both excellent listeners. I have a lot to learn from them. Day fades to night, and stars soon blanket the sky. I'm considering sending a messenger for Delora when the door opens and the woman in question steps inside. Well, well, if it isn't my favorite princess. Emmeline would be offended. Well, it's a good thing she's not here, then. Chevalier smiles at her mischievously. You're just glad she's not here because her innocent, sparkling eyes would break your resolve. Huh, so even the ice-cold Delora has a soft side? Cinna's standing in the doorway, arms crossed. Did you just call me ice-cold, Cinnamon? You don't know what that means. Cinna grumbles as he takes a seat at the settee. Delora watches him, looking exasperated. I wonder if something happened at their meeting. Cinnamon being a little prat. Delora seats herself beside a niece and looks at me expectantly. So, what's the news with the Tenebrarum? Have you noticed any disturbances? Well, I bring up the surge of negative emotions I've been experiencing today. Delora crosses her arms and sighs. Well, if this is still continuing after our training, I feel inclined to call it an imbalance. Or maybe your training isn't as effective as you think. Oh? Would you like to take over the princess's training? Cinna turns away, cheeks flushed. It's because you're like 12 and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, kiddo. Cinna, I think the princess has made her case, and this is something the two of you need to resolve together. Cinna rises with a scowl. I've said this before. There's nothing to talk about. Now if you'll excuse me, I have other more pressing matters to attend to. I feel like the negative energy is this kid. I love his bratty attitude, though. Because you want to slap him. You're like, I want to slap this kid so bad. You know. Instead of like, everyone's so nice. Before either of us can get a word in, Cinna leaves the room and slams the door behind him. He seems troubled. Cinna's too proud for his own good, and the more you corner him, the cattier he becomes. It's even worse today because he had to deal with fairies questioning his legitimacy as the Lucius heir. It's no wonder he feels attacked. But all I want to do is talk to him so we can locate the source of this problem. I'm sorry, Spacey. Other than offering you an extra training sessions, there's not much else I can do to help you. I think it'd be best if you somehow tricked Cinna into a conversation. Otherwise, you'll need to speak to someone who can tell you a little more about how the Lucius functions. If Cinna continues to be uncooperative, Waltz and I can reach out to some fairies we know. I feel like Cinna would become even more hostile if I spoke to someone that wasn't him. So tell him, I'm gonna go to someone else if you don't fucking sit down and talk to me, you little bitch. No, I will find a way to speak to him. Delora sighs. Good luck. And trying to get Cinna to do anything is like herding cats. Though I don't doubt what Delora says, I must still try my best to see eye to eye with Cinna. The two of us have an obligation to work together as the Tenebrarum and Lucius bearers. I'll figure out a way to speak to him. Somehow. Perhaps we can bribe him. With what? Insects? Chevalier and I are walking back to the palace together, brainstorming ways we can force Cinna to converse with me. Cinnamon's favorite hobby is bug catching, so it has merit as an idea, but I refuse to wave a net around and catch insects with him. I doubt you need a net. Butterflies would flock to you, lovely as you are. I'd rather not be a perch for butterflies. Oh my god, that's the best part of going to the butterfly factory. Ah, but princess, you'd look like something out of a fairy tale. We don't live in a fairy tale, Chev. We kinda do. The two of us have just rounded the corner when someone calls Chevalier's name. Mr. Chevalier! Sir! A familiar boy rushes toward us, smiling brightly. That was not a boy's voice, sorry. Doctor! Princess! It's the boy that used to visit Chevalier at his clinic. More than 2 years ago, Chevalier saved this boy's life by striking a deal with the elusive witch doctor. The deal eventually caused Chevalier to be cursed. During that time, he didn't remember the boy or the circumstances that caused him to be cursed. Since the curse broke, however, the boy has been visiting Chevalier and watching him work when Chevalier permits it. I haven't seen him since Chevalier made preparations to give the clinic to a niece.
Oh, what a serendipitous meeting! To what do I owe the pleasure of your company, little sir?
Chevalier crouches down beside the boy, and I can't help but smile at the sight of them. I've never been good with children, but watching Chevalier interact with them always makes me happy.
I heard a tragic rumor.
Oh, care to share? The boy glances at me, a thoughtful look on his face.
Are you and the doctor getting married?
What? What? Where in the world did that come from? I'm experiencing a terrible sense of déjà vu. I expected Chevalier to laugh or smile. Instead, he becomes oddly stiff. He's like, who told you it was a surprise? I can't help but recall the trances that used to come over him when he was still an amnesiac. Is he okay?
Doctor?
We answer the boy. I lean down to address the boy directly. I don't know what this has to do with any rumors, but no, I'm not married to the doctor. He is very special to me, though. The boy looks at me skeptically.
Are you getting married soon, then?
I falter, unable to give the boy a straight answer. Who knows? If Chevalier proposed to me, he would be by my side always. I get to see his smiling face every night, and he would, by extension, be next in line for the throne. I look at Chevalier, who catches my eye and smiles awkwardly. After a few moments, I smile back at him. No, he's just going to be my concubine. Right now, he's a consort. He's going to stay my consort. Sounds better. Chevalier already worries enough about being accepted by the nobles. That sort of commitment would overwhelm him. It's actually cute. We're not like, yeah, you should just deal. It's like, sweetie, you don't have to marry me. You'll just be my consort. I'll be the queen. You do your thing, and it's fine. We'll have a relation. We don't have to get married. It's okay. Like, I don't want you to be under pressure that you don't need to be. I understand this, even if the reality of it's disheartening. But I can't stand to see the sorrow on his face, so I speak the truth. I think that maybe someday we will be, yes. I say the words for the boy's benefit, but it's Chevalier who seems more surprised, staring at me so owlishly that I can't help but laugh. He looks a little stressed out right now. Marrying a doctor as nice as Mr. Chevalier would be an honor for a princess. Spacey, that's... What, is the great Chevalier, master flatterer, at a loss for words? Never! I could never run out of compliments for you. I'm relieved to see him return to his normal self, even if the things I said were embarrassing. Suddenly the boy steps toward Chevalier, expression somber.
I heard rumors that you were closing the clinic. That you were going to start living in the palace, and I thought it was because you were marrying the princess.
Ah, I'm afraid you've been misinformed. And the clinic will remain open, only a wonderful new lady is going to take over for me. She'll be selling herbal remedies to help with all kinds of sicknesses.
But what about you?
I'm going to be a physician at the palace.
So you're just going to help the nobles?
No, of course not. But I can't be in two places at the same time, so... I can tell by his expression that he doesn't want to go into any more detail, so I assure the boy Chevalier will continue his practice, just in a different place. His sadness dissipates when I tell him he can visit Chevalier in the palace.
Mom's going to be so excited when I tell her I can visit the palace.
He runs off after that, leaving Chevalier and I alone. I reach for Chevalier's hand. He's like, can he really go to the palace? Oh, hell no, they'll shoot him on sight. But, like, whatever, it's fine. Give him a moment of peace. Just kidding. Are you okay? Yes. Sorry about that, Spacey. I blanked out. You talk about me overworking myself, but are you sure you weren't pushing yourself too hard? He was like, how does he know I'm going to propose? No, I'm not. I promise. I look at him skeptically. In the end, he only raises his hands in surrender before, again, taking my hand in his. It was just a momentary lapse. Even when you're no longer an amnesiac, you still have memory problems. You really are an old man. I feel that. Alas, I'm afraid even I can't be perfect. He plants a kiss on the top of my head. Let's return to the palace, shall we? I wouldn't want everyone to worry when you don't show at dinner. I allow Chevalier to pull me along. As we walk, I wonder about how I might get him to speak honestly about what's bothering him. Life is changing and it's a little sad. 3 days later. 3 days later. Remind me again of why we're here. Here is a small cafe on the outskirts of the town plaza. Actually, I've been here before. Years ago, when Chevalier was still Rumple, I came to this place to speak with his former fiancée. Though Bria has since moved her sewing business out of Angeal, I still sometimes remember our meeting. I actually spoke with her a few times after, and she and Chevalier officially separated. I even went to her shop to purchase some scarves for Emmeline. But right now, I'm here with Chevalier, who has just ordered dessert off the menu. He brought me here today without an explanation. If he hears my question, he gives no indication. Are you sure you didn't want anything else, Spacey? Look, they even have this fancy hot chocolate, and they serve it with rose petals. Chev, his name comes out a sigh. Ah, what a mournful sound. Oh, what's the matter, my sweet princess? You didn't answer my question. Why are we here? He smiles at me coyly. Why, for a date, of course. A date? Your cheeks are red, Spacey. It's precious. They are not! The words come out louder than I intended, and when the customers at the nearby tables turn to look at me, I feel my cheeks warm again. Chevalier smiles at me. Chevalier's right. The last few nights have been especially rough. Though I have been by the Martian a few times to see Cinna, he mysteriously disappears every time I show up. I can't help but wonder if he's using magic to vanish. Oh, also, I have something else planned as well. Something else? Yes, a surprise. You'll see soon. You're going to propose to us now? I'm wondering at the vagueness of the words when a server sets a small plate down on our table. It's filled with biscuits. Aw, cute. They're shaped like lilies? Did you know this cafe only started serving these biscuits recently? Aw, look at the way he's looking at us. I reach out to grab one of the cookies off the plate and admire the delicate frosting work. Even the flower filaments are carefully crafted. Only recently? And that's right, in honor of a certain crown princess. Chevalier laughs. You weren't paying attention when I ordered them earlier, were you? Otherwise you would have reacted to them being called the Princess Lily Platter. But how would they know what my favorite flower was? Not like we're not wearing one in our hair all times. Who knows? Perhaps someone who happened to know her very well told them. I look up and meet Chevalier's gaze, baffled. Why? Because I don't like to be the only one to spoil you, and because I wanted to show you that the townsfolk like you. Like me? Of course. But I try my best to speak with them, it's true, but I'm nowhere near as good at conversing as Emmeline. People may no longer call me the Ice Princess, but that doesn't change the fact that my social skills still leave much to be desired. You and me both, girl. Do you need me to say what I think, Spacey? Or can you already guess? I should let people spoil me, right? Chevalier claps his hands together. Exactly! We object, yeah. I feel a certain sense of déjà vu. How can I explain this in a way that won't offend him? I split the biscuit in half and offer him one of the pieces. I love being spoiled by you, Chevalier. I touch my fingers to his, but I also prefer being spoiled by only you. Favorite things aren't special when shared with others. I curl my fingers through his. I feel more special when moments like this are shared between just the two of us. Chevalier stares at me at a loss for words. The shock on his face makes me laugh, and he abruptly unfreezes. What a blessed sound. He leans forward, glasses glinting. You're right. I would so much rather keep that precious laughter to myself. I roll my eyes. That I can't promise. I give his hand a squeeze before pulling my fingers away. Chevalier offers me a mock bow before popping the biscuit into his mouth. He always goes out of his way to do such nice things for me. I should do something for him as well. Let's make him a plushie. My mind wanders back to the stall full of scarves we visited not too long ago. Chevalier mentioned he needed a new scarf. He no longer wears the scarf Bria made him because Chevalier is Chevalier. He puts other people first and never thinks about what he needs. Sorry. Princess! Suddenly his face is mere inches away from mine. I startle and fall back into my chair. Why must you always get so close? It's a lot easier to read your mind when I can look directly into your beautiful golden eyes. This is one time where I really don't want him to read my mind. He is perceptive to a fault. How can I surprise him if he sees it coming? Oh, is it Cinna? And here I was under the impression that this was a meeting for 3. I turn my seat and I'm surprised to see Cinna standing beside our table. I assumed. He surveys us skeptically. Cinnamon, what are you... Oh, what a pleasure to see you again, tiny lord. Call me that again and I'll burn your biscuits. I eye Chevalier, who only flashes me a knowing smile. Is this what he was referring to when he said he had something else planned? I turn back to Cinna. You'll not set anything on fire. Please sit, Cinna. I can't lose this opportunity to speak with him. Cinna pulls up a chair. So, since the old man is the one that called me here, I'm going to assume you want to talk about the Tenebrarum and Lucius. He eyes Chevalier. Remember what you promised me for this. A cinnamon roll? Yes, I will buy you one. Cinna flushes a deep red. Takes a great effort to stifle my laughter. Cinna, a most precious cinnamon. You don't want to finish that sentence. Despite his protests, Cinna doesn't budge. So he has a weakness for cinnamon? I shouldn't be surprised. I glance again at Chevalier. So this wasn't just a date. He set up this time for Cinna and I to meet. Leave it up to Chevalier to find a way to make this work. I clear my throat. I know we're over, but I was hoping that this scene was going to kind of end, but... To answer your earlier question, yes, that's correct. You have heard what I told Delora. I have, and... I want to discuss the balance between the Lucius and Tenebrarum. As I said before, that's not necessary. I don't intend to change the way I'm handling the Lucius. He's acting like a petulant child. What do you mean by handling the Lucius? Cinna raises an eyebrow. I don't need to explain it to you. All you need to know is that I don't intend to succumb to the crystal... All you need to know is that I don't intend to succumb to the crystallum the way my cousin did. Like Lady Parfait. Like Parfait? We speak at the same time. What are you two, parrots? Please explain, Cinna. There's nothing to explain. I just told you. Plan on doing things differently from my cousin. I won't make the same mistake she did. Here he falters, and for a few moments his bravado fades, and he looks uncertain. He looks young, like his age. Cinna, I lean forward. I know what it's like to have to take over someone else's job without being prepared for it. I understand wanting to do things differently. I'm doing things differently than my mother, after all. But I also know that I need to explain those differences to others because my decisions impact all of Angeal. That's why I want you to speak to me. Your plans impact both of us. Cinna refuses to meet my eyes. Cinnamon! Eventually he grumbles and looks up. That's Cinna? Fine, I'll talk, but you have to promise not to interrupt. I glance at Chevalier, who nods at me encouragingly. If there's one thing he's taught me the importance of, it's listening. I promise. Cinna is quiet for a few moments. Then, he begins to tell us a story. I feel like we need to stop here, even though we're he's probably going to continue. I don't know if it's going to Oh no, this is going to fade. Perfect. I was like, is it going to fade into a story? This would be the perfect place. Perfect. Oh, it goes right into chapter 3. Okay. The pacifist. All right, perfect. Perfect timing. So I'm going to end this part here, and we will continue and read Cinna's story in the next part. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.